So while the likes of a Candace Conspiracy Owens tries to find any sort of angle to pin Charlie Kirk's assassination on just pretty much any Jew at this point. It's like an any Jew would do sort of policy. I think it's Josh Hammer is the one she's landed on this week. Yeah, while she goes ahead and plays pretend investigator, for some reason, it seems that there is a group who Charlie spoke on more than a few times that would seem to me to be higher on that list of possible suspects. You know, number one, we have leftists. That one's obvious. Matter of fact, in Charlie's own words, these people are very violent and they will likely resort to violence because they can't essentially beat this movement through debate. So next on my list, I have the old jihadist, right? The old Islamists. And I would count Qatar in there. I would count Iran or Iran's Ayatollah regime because they are the funders of terror. You know, some are just, they're brazen. They're willing to do the job. Others are willing to pay for the job. Both are complicit. Yeah, it turns out that those guys are spoken of by Charlie more than a few times. And yet, again, for some reason, the likes of a Taliban Qatarson just seem to always skip out or miss out on these guys. You know, it can almost be anybody except for these guys. Interesting. So that being said, I want to go ahead and get into a compilation created by, I believe this one is by Nathan Livingston, aka Milk Bar TV, who does a phenomenal job of putting these compilations together. So let's go ahead and get into this video. Oh, wait, actually, I lied. That's going to be the second video we get into. The first video, excusez-moi, is a video of some celebrating jihadists, or actually some disappointed jihadists in the middle of Times Square, New York, or somewhere in New York. It's usually Times Square where they have this foolishness going on. And he is basically expressing how he feels about the quote unquote success of October 7th, 2023.
We did not act enough. No. We did not act enough. We did not act enough. Repeat after me. We did not act enough. We did not act enough. If we acted enough. If we acted enough. The headline behind me would read. The headline behind me would read. Gaza has been liberated.
So yeah, it turns out that Gaza has been liberated, actually. Shout out to President DJT. It's my guy. Shout out to Bibi Netanyahu. So yeah, it was liberated. It's essentially technically being liberated from nut jobs like this guy over here, right? I can call this guy a full-blown, I can call him a full-blown jihadist. There's no way you stand up there and say something like that without being one. Now, something I just noticed here is the real sheeple mentality that these people have. Not a surprise, obviously, but they didn't know what was going to come out of his mouth next, and they were just going with it. You know, I even feel uncomfortable when I'm in, let's say, some sort of seated event, and it's like, okay, everybody stand up now. I'm like, why? Why? Just stand up just because you said so? Okay, everybody scream. Why? I know I'm at a concert, but you know, I don't necessarily feel like screaming right now. Maybe a little later. Thank you very much. So, yeah, these guys would just go along with whatever.
So our work is not done. We must show up. We must show up. Stronger than we did the first October 7th.
Whoa. Even the chick next to him is uncomfortable. She's like, wait a minute. I don't think I signed up for this. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait. Anthony? Are you sure this is how we're supposed to? Is this a good idea?
Louder than we did the first October 7th. To make it clear that we are not going anywhere. We will keep fighting until Palestine is free. From the river to the sea. Within our lifetime. Make some noise.
So long as Hamas keeps Hamasing and so-called Palestine keeps Palestining, there will never be freedom for these people. If they do not change their ways, if their culture does not radically transform into one that is not obsessed with eradicating Jews, but instead is, I don't know, maybe more interested in building something, being productive, actually taking the opportunities presented instead of being these complacent victims, and to build. If they maybe just did something like that, then yes, there would be freedom. If they found the true living God and turned to Yahweh, Yeshua, then maybe, just maybe, they would be free. Until then, I don't give it. I'm sorry. I'm giving this like a week, and they're gonna try for something else. If you don't change your culture and you don't change your temperament, then nothing else would change. So let's go ahead and get into the video with Charlie. Excuse me for completely forgetting that this is how I was starting this video.
Speaking more and more about Islam.
If you want to talk about
let's run that back. Okay.
I have really started, as you know, speaking more and more about Islam.
If you want to talk about how Islam mistreats women, we could talk all day long. Because you brought up female genital mutilation, which is a teaching of the Islamic faith. Most Muslim majority countries, you cannot criticize the Prophet Muhammad.
Muhammad, the greatest man ever to live, the greatest example, was a warlord who married a 6-year-old her when she was 9 and then kept multiple wives. Remember, President Donald Trump openly ran on a Muslim ban into the United States of America?
Total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on.
Do you think Islam is
And I remember how every other body was talking about how racist that was. And it did influence my own perspective. You know, I didn't understand why these countries, I was a younger dude, but like, wait, he's going to ban a whole list of countries? And now I'm like, I don't think that list was long enough, sir. We need to revisit that one.
compatible with Western civilization?
Absolutely not. You get rid of Christianity, and then, even more dangerous, you go from secularism then to Islam. Because then you're like, well, we have to believe in something, and then you bring in a completely different ideology that's at odds with Western values.
So I debated at Oxford and Cambridge back in May. These are broken, conquered cities and towns. They're completely unrecognizable.
Oh, no. Not Carlson. Don't tell Taliban he's there sweating bullets. Oh, but they're okay. Sharia. Sharia? You think Sharia's a problem? Try America. Try the Jewia. Sharia.
Walk through Piccadilly Square and there's just more Muslims than native-born whites. Or there's something wrong about that, and that is
What's
a
wrong with
metamorphosis that? And you have to wonder, like, did you vote for this? Did you want this? Did you invite it?
I know a lot of great
did.
individual Muslims. My primary doctor in America is actually a Muslim, and he's amazing. That's not the point. You could walk the street and meet a great Muslim in London. The question is macro Islam compatible with Western values? Macro. Of course it's not.
As many as 1 million white English children may have been the victims of Muslim gangs.
Islam does not believe in freedom of speech.
11 slaughtered in the editorial meeting at the satirical weekly Charlie Hebdo. Supposed revenge for the paper's predictably provocative cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad.
Islam does not believe in freedom of religions. And finally, whereas we in the West are very careful to try to intermix religion and state, they are commanded to actually go into the state and try to change the state to be more Islamic around the core pillars of Islam.
Muslim armies move! Muslim armies move! We need to change the corrupt secular government.
Those three things are antithetical to the West.
In fact, this is the main reason why I decided to speak out, because after I left Islam, I had horrible deception and basically, oppression of my mind behind me. I wanted to get away from it, but I look into...
Shout out to Apostate Prophet. Let's link up.
World, and I see people saying stuff like Islam is misunderstood, it's a religion of peace. It's not a religion of peace. It is not a religion that wants to coexist with you. We have today in the UK, in many other countries, we have Muslims preachers openly saying that the vision of Muslims should be to take over Western nations.
He's saying we will give them fertility, we will breed children with them. Wait a minute, that sounds a little forced. I did not consent to this, sir. Because we shall conquer their countries. Okay, that's what you're not about to do.
We've had imams in England saying they want to mount the West like a woman to be mounted and subdued. Gaddafi said something similar in the late 90s, saying that we're going to take over Europe without ever having to lift a sword. For anyone that has eyes to see and ears to hear and actually reads the Hadith and reads parts of the Quran, you know that conquest is an Islamic value.
I cannot see a single Western country that has become more Islamic and has become a better place to live that is happier or freer.
By what metric? Just happiness, quality?
Everything from quality of life, from cultural cohesion.
Is the Muslim world
from not being afraid that you're gonna be on a tram one day and it gets blown up. I think that would be a qualifier of greater life satisfaction. I think that's just an assumption on my point. I guess what would I know, you know what I mean, about happiness besides not being afraid that you are going to get run over by a car by somebody yelling Allahu Akbar. Nah, absolutely not.
They're taking over the West.
Yes.
They tried for many years to conquer Europe through wars, only wars.
And now
50 مليون مسلم في أوروبا بعد عشرات السنين سيحول أوروبا إلى قارة مسلمة.
This is the soft Islamic conquest of the West.
The spiritual battle is coming to the West. And the enemies are wokeism or Marxism combining with Islamism to...
So, hold up. We're going to play the rest of the clip, but I need to address y'all because I'm still looking for a Jew in all of this, right? That's the running narrative that is being created here by the Jew Hate Brigade. Somewhere in here, we got to find them. So far, I've heard leftists throughout Charlie's entire career. It's actually been his focal point. Leftist, Marxist, you know, you can categorize them, so-called progressives, etc. They're all in the same little grouping. And they've actually grouped themselves with the jihadists, though the jihadists have not done the same. Still want to toss them off the building, you know, due to their transformerness. So, okay, fantastic. We have leftists, number one. Number two, jihadists, according to the man himself. Now, I would probably put China. I'd probably put Russia, like those other vested interests, those who have, let's say, put billions of dollars into our university systems in order to co-opt. Those who have a vested interest in America imploding. Those are the people I would put at the top of this list. Just so happens that in my top five, there's not a single Jew yet. I have like a random dude off the street before them, for the simple fact that this was one of the few people who was actually speaking positively, outwardly, in public about the Jewish people. But of course, now it's Josh Hammer, the podcaster. Okay. All right.
Go after what we call the American way of life. But soon, Britain will have more practicing Muslims than practicing Christians. I think that will be a catastrophic change. And everyone knows it.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. UK is cooked from within. And I'm actually going to be having a conversation with a gentleman who was introduced into my life because of this message about the God of the East making his way west. Well, the false God of Islam, which is really a demonic spirit that is now being allowed to conquer the West because we have been disobedient. We have forgotten our God at scale. There's no longer a God at the foundation, especially in a place like the UK. America, there is still enough of a base there, but even in that has become so lax. It's like this, what I call avocado toast Christianity, right? It's convenient, it's lax, it's whatever. The UK doesn't even have that. It's purely secular. And there are few Christians, and dare I say even true believers, those who are obedient. There are those who are, again, casual, who call themselves as such and, you know, pick up whatever denomination that they so feel feeds into their own desires. But when it comes to actual submission to the living God, The UK has given itself over to foreign gods, and those foreign gods are now conquering them in real time. And if there is not a full sweep repentance, I'm telling y'all, it's going to get worse. It's going to get ugly. Look throughout the Old Testament and look into the prophecy leaking into the New Testament and see if I'm lying. Look into Isaiah, look into Ezekiel, look into Jeremiah, and see if these things have not been spoken of. You know, not too long ago, I got into a verse about how foreigners will take over your land. Sound familiar? Foreign gods, because you've given yourself over. The wisest man in the entire Bible outside of, well, okay, this is man, meaning not God, is Solomon. And Solomon let in all these concubines. I know it's concubines, relax. All these wives, all these concubines into his life, and he started worshiping all these gods, etc. And there was a fall of the Israeli Empire. And it happened about 17 times where there was, walking away and submitting to other gods and walking away and, being about anything besides God's business. It happened time and time again. And every single one of those times, the consequences were felt. So folks may not like to hear that message, but it's the truth. You're trying to solve it with your foreign policy, etc. It's not going to work. You're going to have to build it on top of a solid foundation. The faith is the foundation. The coming back to God, the true living God, is the foundation. And so you can build your moral compass and everything else on top of that. That's how America got to be what it was. And we're trying to make it great again. But that greatness does not come without the big G, the biggest G, God. Absolutely not. So there we have Charlie Kirk articulating out of his own mouth that this is the greatest threat to the Western world outside of a leftist ideology. And yet here we are being deviated off of the course at hand and instead made to focus upon it's not even just allyship, right? Like with Israel and the Jewish people. And I'm not liberal, like real liberal Jews, non-Zionist, real liberal Jews are an issue in the same way. They are the Marxist, leftist, Zoran Mamdani voting assist. They're the same exact mold and yield as that. We're not talking about them. Those who are rational, sane-minded, etc. Those who see allyship with us. We're looking at our friends and turning them into enemies and looking at our enemies and trying to turn them into somewhat of a friend, trying to neutralize it a little bit, try to desensitize and water it down. That's why Carlson is dangerous. This is a man who used to speak openly about the dangers of Sharia law. And now he celebrates it. This is a man who celebrated the Taliban for their impeccable work in their drug rehab facilities. This is a man who will sit across from the president of Iran, the Ayatollah second in command in essence, and ask him what flavor ice cream he likes. I know that's not a literal quote, but it might as well be. 30 minutes, sit down. He could ask anything during that time. Hey, that old Death to America thing, what's that about? Oh, I mean, do you really mean death to America? Is it really? I mean, death to America? You don't really mean that, do you? I didn't mean death to America. I mean, it's a misunderstanding, right? I mean, it's just a question. Yeah, it turns out that those people are actually a greater enemy and greater threat than any Jew. Yeah. It's crazy, right? It's crazy. And they're going to tell you, if you say anything like that, that you're being paid $7,000 per post. I'm telling y'all, I'm waiting for my checks. Okay. I'm waiting for my $7 has not hit from the Israeli government. So they're about to send 7,000. They've got some back pay, boy. They got me on a what's it called? Clearness system right now. Buy now, pay later. So I'll be waiting on upwards to $1 million at this point. How many references I have made in my support of the Jewish people. You got to run that bag right now. Not 7 cents has hit the account. Come on, BB. We got to hike them numbers up quick. Yeah, it turns out that people will actually do the right thing for free. Imagine that. I know it's impossible for many to understand this because most people, and I'm not saying, oh, there's some of us who are not sinners and some of us who are. No, we're all sinners. It's just, are you covered by grace? But most people would likely sell their morality for something. I guess you can't even call it morality. They would compromise at some level. Most people have a price. Not all people, but most people. There's people in the space I have seen, and I'm like, they have a price on them. All those comedians who are going out to Saudi Arabia and just simply claiming that they're looking the other way, right? Paid by this government that believes in slavery, etc. They're just going to look the other way. Don't mind me here. Stand for nothing. I'm not saying I have the perfect moral compass, but I know who does. It is the one who saves, the one who saved me. So, yeah, doing the right thing is free, but sometimes it will cost you everything. That's the facts. And for our brother Charlie, it literally cost him, quote unquote, everything. But to live is Christ, to die is gain. So he pretty much won in the end. When it comes to Charlie specifically, he won in this situation. No, it's hard for the mortal ears to hear, but he is with the Lord. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Now, if you'd like to stay around, make sure to click that little subscribe button down there, or you can show some love by going to the description below and clicking on the button titled Buy Me a Coffee. Leave a little something there, or click on the Cash App. Leave a little something here. Till the next time, peace.
I've been up for hours, I've been up for days, staring at the ceiling, I've been counting strays, I've been in my feelings, I've been out of mind, I've been getting visions of the other kind, I've been up for weeks, I'm in the count of blessings over count of sheep. I can never be the type to limit when it comes to me. I used to be the pleaser for the people, I ain't